Today we have the G-Force ZM dual battery electric bicycle. My G-Force ZM came with two 20 amp hour 48 volt lithium batteries, and this electric bicycle has that long classic 1970 style banana seat look. And this bicycle could be perfect for riding around with a passenger, except for it doesn't come with any foot pegs for that second rider. And riding with a passenger is absolutely something that could be achieved with this bicycle as long as you add pegs and you and your passenger combined don't weigh more than 400 pounds. Climbing hills with that passenger could be a little bit of a challenge because this thing has a street legal 750 watt rated motor that can spike up to 1300 watts. With that being said, this is a Bafang brand electric motor built into this mag wheel. In the electric bike world, Bafang is one of the workhorse electric brands. This front wheel is also manufactured by Bafang and matches the rear at 20 inches diameter and 4 inches wide. The G-Force ZM also has plenty of stopping power with 160 millimeter rotors and dual hydraulic disc brakes. A lot of your lower tier electric bike manufacturers do skimp out on the hydraulic brakes and include manual disc brakes. The best part about hydraulic disc brakes is they're pretty much set and forget until it's time to replace the pads. Whereas if you had mechanical brakes, you'd have to adjust them every once in a while as your pads wear out to make sure you maintain that most efficient stopping power. At first glance, I thought that this thing might have had one of those crank drive electric motors. However, if you open this case, this is where the control box is between the motor and the battery. This frame has a very good set of finishing touches. Between that box, even this little cover right here, nothing looks or feels out of place. And in fact, this is one of the highest quality electric bicycles that I've tested on this channel. Something I want to mention, but you'll probably never use because this is in fact a street legal electric bicycle, is this durable feeling set of pedals on this pro wheel crank combined with the Shimano Tourney 7-speed shifter. One thing about this Shimano index shifting system is that it is time proven. This system has been around for several years and it simply works on these electric bicycles. On the cockpit, we also have these dual hydraulic disc brake levers. The brand hasn't necessarily been proven yet, but this Logan brand disc brake feels pretty good to the touch. It's not spongy and it has plenty of control when you pull the levers. To turn on the G-Force ZM is simple. You touch the power button and then you hold the power button on the handlebars, turning on this display. The display ran through some tests and it came on at level assist 1. Cycling the information on the display is as simple as hitting this I button on the control panel, and you can cycle through trip, odometer, max speed, average speed. And then you can also increase the pedal assist level from 1 to 5. I'm going to leave it on 5 because I want all the power. Finally, you can turn on the headlight using this switch, but it does lower the illumination on the display. I don't mind that the display darkens, but in direct sunlight, you really can't read it with the headlights on. But I do like to ride with the headlights on because at 28 miles per hour, I want to make sure any cars that are coming towards me in traffic can see me, and those headlights are the best way to make that happen. This LED headlight setup is super bright and it feels pretty high quality. It doesn't jingle around when I'm riding, and it has a perfect form fit on these front forks. The taillight is also super bright and it shows when you're stopping. The only thing I would do to make these taillights better on a bike like this is add motorcycle style turn signals. The G-Force ZM has dual suspension, and the front suspension is compression adjustable while the rear suspension doesn't have any adjustment. Now this front suspension does have 110 millimeters of travel, which is about standard for a cross-country style mountain bike. With this dual suspension, the ZM has plenty of travel to soak up the bumps on the trail. Inside the box, there's a toolkit that has all the tools that you need to assemble the bike. And there's also 2 power bricks. And this is a little funny, and it brings me to the first thing that I don't like about this G-Force ZM. So we do have the dual battery kit, But there's something interesting about this second battery. The second battery's in a cradle that is not wired to the bicycle. So to me, that is a little comical, because if you want to use that second battery, you're going to need to consume the power in the first battery. And once you're comfortable with the amount of power that you've used out of this battery, you have to physically swap the two batteries. And this isn't a difficult process, but it's also not exactly easy. The bike comes with two separate keys. Each of the key cylinders that secure the batteries are keyed differently. So to get the first battery off, I want to make sure that I have the correct key. Slide the battery off to the right here, and it's not light. These things weigh, feels like maybe about 12 pounds. I want to make sure I don't drop this because this plastic case will break, so I should probably put this on the ground. Once I've got that first battery out, I'm going to swap keys, take out the second battery while making sure to juggle the first battery so I don't drop it. Now I've got two choices. I can leave the key in and try to grab the other battery without dropping the first battery, twist and secure the bottom battery. Now I've got to pull the key out of the bottom battery pack, put it back in the top battery pack, and secure the second battery. And now I'm ready to ride again. That process isn't exactly difficult, but if you're in a rush to get somewhere and you have to swap that battery, it's not exactly a convenient way to manage that. I still like the fact that there is the option for this dual 20 amp hour 48 volt battery set. One thing I'll recommend that you do with it is swap the batteries every other use, because unless you're going for a several hour trip, you're not going to run down on juice on the first battery in the first place. So maybe mark on the side of the battery A, B, or 1 and 2, and then rotate those batteries every other use. I did show that you get these dual 150 watt chargers. Each one of these does go into one of those batteries. And I know it's obvious that the best part about having two chargers is that you can charge both batteries at the same time. But what that means is, instead of spending 10 hours charging both batteries, it'll take you about 5 hours max to charge both batteries from empty. But again, with those two massive batteries, you'll probably never run out of power while you're out on the road, meaning that you'll probably only have to charge one battery at a time anyway. All right guys, enough talking. Let me get my helmet on and let's go for a test ride. But first, downhill, this thing will propel itself up to 38 miles per hour. Locked out. It's actually not what I want. I want the suspension to be loose as it is, so I can enjoy the suspension while I'm not on a paved road. On the flats, this thing gets up to 20 pretty quick. Going up the hill, it does struggle a little bit, but it performs as I would expect for a 750 watt hub motor. They're super good on flat terrain, but those 1 horsepower motors do struggle a little bit on the hills. That's just the name of the game with street legal electric bikes, so this thing handles as I would expect. These rubber stoppers prevent the forks from banging into the batteries when you're at an extreme turn angle. It does limit the turning capability of the bicycle, meaning that the G-Force ZM has a larger turning radius than I would normally expect. Is that a showstopper? Not really. It's already hard enough to turn at full stop. Honestly, that's not really a showstopper at all. And in fact, it allows me to know that I can bang out that turning radius without doing any damage to the bicycle. The sun is setting and we're running out of daylight. So I wanted to share a few thoughts with you from my garage. I plan to keep this bike through the winter as a long-term tester. The main reason for that is this dual battery setup. I love having the ability to go as far as I want whenever I want. It is a little bit of a hassle to swap those two batteries, but the two batteries feel like excellent quality workmanship, and overall this bike has a premium quality feel. Nothing rattles, nothing jingles, and this red on black paint scheme is fantastic. The graphics are a little funny, but they make sense. We've got strong momentum on the G-Force and Sport. If you like my fast-paced reviews that get to the point, please give my video a thumbs up, and also please consider subscribing. And finally, if you want to know more about the G-Force ZM, check out the links in the video description.